For years, Priyanka Gandhi only campaigned for other members of her family. At one point, she had said that she would never get into electoral politics. Now, she is all set, the favorite, tipped to be the favorite at least, to be the next member of parliament from Wayanad. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo Story. Our focus today is on the prospect of there being three members of the Gandhi family in parliament. That is, if Priyanka Gandhi Vadra wins her seat from Wayanad, which is likely considering that the Congress has never lost an election here since 2008. Rahul Gandhi, who won from here, has now declared himself as he gives up the seat. That's why the bypoll is happening for his sister to be the unofficial member of parliament. He says Wayanad will now have two members of parliament, one official, one official. Now, this development comes as the Congress faces elections in both Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Remember, neither in Jammu and Kashmir nor in Haryana were the results that would make Congress happy. The Congress did not do well in the Jammu region of Jammu and Kashmir, and it lost the state of Haryana, a state that it thought it would win. Omar Abdullah did win, but not thanks to the Congress party. With the entry of a third member of the Gandhi family into parliament, with the much talked about Priyanka factor finally now on test electorally, but albeit from a very safe seat for the Congress, how do we look at the dynamics that might play out, both in the public space, in parliament, in the media, but also within the Congress party, where Rahul Gandhi is clearly the undisputed boss, and the BJP is saying that as Mr. Gandhi declares himself to be the unofficial member of parliament and gives Wayanad two MPs, what he's effectively saying is that Priyanka Gandhi is a proxy for him. To talk about this entry of Priyanka Gandhi into electoral politics, but also the peculiar circumstances of having three members of the same family in parliament, how might that play out? Let me welcome our panel. Sugata Srinivasaraju, author and senior journalist, is with us. Good to see you, Sugata. Tavleen Singh, author and columnist, is with us. Always good to see you, Tavleen. And Neerja Chowdhury, veteran journalist and author, is also with us. Great to have you back with us, Neerja. Let's get first comments. I'll start with you, Neerja. Priyanka Gandhi is a favorite to win. There doesn't seem to be much of a contest because this is the seat that the Congress hasn't actually lost since 2008. It has always been a Congress seat. Rahul Gandhi won with a big margin, taking nearly 60% of the vote share here. But now the dynamics are going to be somewhat different. As Priyanka Gandhi herself said, this is the first time she's asking for votes for herself. She will now be a voice in parliament. She will be judged, also for policy positions. She will no longer be just the sister who comes in or the daughter who comes in. I'm assuming she's going to win. Stranger things have happened in politics, but let's assume for the moment that she is going to win. What do you make of this moment?
Yes, I agree with you. Given the kind of response she had when she filed her nomination yesterday from Wayanad, certainly I think she stands a very good chance of winning. And remember when Rahul Gandhi stood in 2019 from Wayanad, it used to be said that Wayanad is the safest seat in the country for the Congress party. And of course, as we know, he won with a handsome margin. But so I think it'd be very surprising if Priyanka was to lose in Wayanad. Now, coming to, what is going to happen with three Gandhis in parliament. I don't remember ever three Gandhis being in parliament. Of course, there was Firoz Gandhi and Nehru in the 50s in parliament. There was Rajiv Gandhi and Indira Gandhi, 1981 to 84. But of course, there was also Arun Nehru, the third cousin of Rajiv Gandhi at the same time. There was Sheila Kaul subsequently. So they've had, the larger family, yes, and with Rahul and Sonia Gandhi and Varun Gandhi and Menaka Gandhi. So four Gandhis were there in parliament. But the micro family, the Nehru Gandhis as we know them, Rajiv Gandhi's family, yes, it's the first time this is going to happen. And I remember in 2004 when Rahul Gandhi first stood for the Lok Sabha election, the family had got into a huddle and they decided it would be Rahul, not Priyanka. And I do know at that time, they did think of the possibility of Priyanka also standing, but they thought it would get three of them being in parliament would get a lot of adverse reaction. That seems to not be the case now because that's a decision they've taken. the three of them will be in parliament. Now, what is going to be the impact of this? Clearly, as leader of the opposition, Rahul is in the lead position and accepted as a leader not only of the Congress party but large sections of the opposition also view him as a possible future prime minister. And Priyanka will willy nilly have to play, it's a horrible word to use, but second fiddle to her brother. Now, suppose she speaks very well in parliament, she's made good speeches in the Lok Sabha elections this year, and drawn applause from people in the crowd, and she reached out to people quite effectively wherever she went. So suppose she does make scintillating speeches which are better than her brothers, and of course willy nilly there'll be two groups, and we know how courtiers play the game inside the Congress party. So how they're going to deal with all this, it will throw up new kind of problems. And of course, the brother and sister, the siblings are going to back together, taking on the BJP frontally in the Lok Sabha. That I think is a given. So let's see, it's going to be interesting politics within the Congress as well as the opposition, within the India bloc and in Parliament.
Yeah, this is an interesting scenario. I mean, Tavleen, there was a time when Priyanka was always compared to Rahul, and before she was actively in politics, there was a certain degree of enigma, mystery, curiosity about her. Now she's actually been actively in politics for a while, even though she's now contesting her first election. But a little bit of that earlier, I would say, enigmatic curiosity or the sort of, the mystery of Priyanka, that kind of narrative doesn't exist around her anymore. But Neerja makes the interesting point. There was a time when three members of the same family would have left the issue open for the BJP to target them. The Congress doesn't seem to care. They seem to have decided that the Gandhis are a political asset, not a political liability, notwithstanding the fact that the last set of assembly elections have not brought good news for the party in either Haryana or Jammu and Kashmir. What do you make of her entry?
Well, for a start, I don't think that, she's, forget the enigmatic part of it. I don't think that she's actually shown anyone what she stands for. I've heard her mostly speak about her dadi and her family, and how she's, everyone in the family is a fighter, etc., etc. Now, I actually think that she's kind of stuck in a time warp, because I think that India has gone a little bit beyond all that. The dadi is not remembered so much anymore. And we don't know, what is her politics? What does she want to do? But more than that, to tell you the truth, as an Indian, I'm a little embarrassed. I mean, here is the ruling family of the Congress party, three of them in parliament. It shows two things to me. One, they have done more to build up the family than the party. I would have liked to see them do the opposite, because I don't think that the Gandhis have shown in the past 10 years that they continue to have that vote getting appeal that they used to once have. So, it would have been much better for them to have built the party, to have spent a lot of time building the party. All they've done is to, produce one family member after the other in the safest seat for the Congress party in India. So, it reflects badly on that. To me, it reflects badly on them. It reflects badly on India. Makes us look like a kind of, two-bit democracy, where, because you see, this is not a state assembly. This is India's parliament. And three members of the ruling family are sitting there. What are we, a kind of, I don't know. To me, it doesn't look good.
But you may have that view. The Congress has clearly decided that the BJP has run out of steam on this issue. It doesn't seem to make a difference to their electoral prospects.
Well, if the BJP had run out of steam, then the Congress would have won Haryana, and the Congress would have done much better in Kashmir than they've just done. And in UP, in the Lok Sabha elections, it was Akhilesh Yadav really who made the difference. Let's not forget that. So, the Congress is already flying on this idea that, that just as before, the Gandhi family was the great Indian dynasty that could always win seats. I'm not sure that they've read it right.
So this is, let me bring in Sugata here. Sugata, you have previously spoken about different dynamics, you remember that time when Robert Vadra would keep saying that he wants to join politics, and you said maybe he's actually making a pitch for his wife. We don't know, and we may never know. But one thing that has happened is that as Priyanka Gandhi files her affidavit, not just have her own movable and immovable assets been put on record, so have her husband's, and it has given the opportunity to the BJP to target Vadra in a way that hasn't happened for a while, because they seem to have run out of steam on that issue as well. What do you make of this moment, Sugata?
Thank you, Barkha. I mean, Neerja ji and Tavleen ji have both spoken about the political dynamics. No, but there's one point that I would like to put forth. Purely, I mean, I would like to hold them on account on the point of democratic principle. See, Rahul Gandhi, the whole of 2024, the run up to the general elections, and even in 23, has been speaking about saving democracy, saving constitution. That has been their biggest pitch. Now, if you try to bring your sister, and if there are 3 members of the Gandhi family in parliament, then what happens to that principle, that position that you've taken about saving democracy? Is it about saving the family or about saving democracy becomes a very important question. Because let me recall this quote of B.R. Ambedkar, in 1949, when the constitution was being, accepted in November of 1949, he quoted John Stuart Mill, and he said something very interesting. He said, "Don't put your liberties at the feet of even a great man, or trust him with powers which enable him to subvert institutions." So if Rahul Gandhi is going around India waving the constitution, the pocket edition of it, and speaking about saving democracy, I think this is a very, very hugely contradictory move on their part. As Tavleen ji rightly said, or I think you said, they have, like the BJP has become a little brazen about a few things, about Hindutva or something else. The Congress has also become brazen about the family. So there are 2 polarities in Indian politics, sadly, and people like us who are counted as liberals, lazily sort of, latch on to the whole liberal agenda by putting the Congress forward. I think it's a lazy thing, and we are not working enough, hard enough to create a social democratic space that is independent of the Congress and the BJP. Of course, BJP is not even in the picture, but then independent of the Congress. So if you don't do that, then I think we'll have to tolerate the family perpetually. And there's one other point, Barkha, because Rahul Gandhi has also been speaking about caste a lot. I think perpetuation, dynastic perpetuation of any kind, is also a mirror to the caste system in India, because somebody labors and somebody rules. That hierarchy is sort of implicitly brought into the idea of the dynastic game. So, as I said, I don't want to hold them, I don't want to make a political comment, but, hold them to account on democratic principle. So I think this is where I stand.
That's an interesting point, and I want Neerja to respond to that. I think the point both Sugata and Tavleen seem to say that it doesn't reflect well on the larger democracy debate, that the Congress itself has not just championed but made the centerpiece at least of its Lok Sabha campaign in 2024. If the family is so dominant that all 3 members are going to be in parliament. Now, is this something that only sort of well-heeled liberals are angsting over? Has the Congress decided that we don't care? Clearly, the Congress has decided we don't care. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this. The fact is, she's tipped to win. She is going to be a member of parliament, and then can begin all these questions. What do you stand for? What is your own view? What is your own personality? Is it just an extension of Rahul Gandhi's? Those come later. But on the philosophical debate around having one family dominate a party, does that reconcile with Rahul Gandhi's politics of social justice, save the constitution, save democracy?
Look, Barkha, as far as the democratic principle is concerned, I agree with both the panelists. If we continue in this fashion, our democracy is going to get limited to 500 families. There is no doubt about that. But you have the peculiar phenomenon. The Congress party turns to the Nehru Gandhi family. Why? Because they think that they keep them united as a party. Why? They think they get them votes. In between, there was a period when they were getting 45 or 52 Lok Sabha seats. Yes, their leadership had come under question. But even then, at that time, they did not throw them out and go for somebody else. Of course, they opted for Mr. Kharge. But that too was, in response to this kind of criticism. But actually, the decisions are being made by the family. The decisions, even when Rahul Gandhi was not the Congress president for those 3.5 years, and Sonia Gandhi was the interim president, all the decisions were made by Rahul Gandhi. And as far as entitlement is concerned, even today, with say the brother and the sister are there in the Lok Sabha, they are going to get the first chance to speak in Parliament as compared to the others. So all this is given, and yet our people keep turning back to the dynasties. And Prime Minister has talked about, criticized Parivar Vad. But you look at Jammu and Kashmir, J&K turned firmly back to National Conference and the Abdullah family. You look at Akhilesh Yadav, who was on the upswing in Uttar Pradesh in the Lok Sabha elections. He fielded only 5 candidates from his party who were Yadavs. Only 5 Yadavs. They were all from the family and they won. Yeah. So, and of course the Gandhi family. And you look at all around the country. So, unless the Congress party says, no, we will have somebody else, they have, they are not prepared to accept one another. We saw this during Narasimha Rao's time, the kind of difficulties he ran into, because they were not prepared to accept him. They would much rather have one of the members of the Nehru Gandhi family. So this is a hard, unpleasant, painful reality that we have to contend with today.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that, where are these other parties that are non-dynastic? Yes, Modi could argue that he doesn't represent a dynasty, to which the Congress would say, well, you have the other parivar, the Sangh parivar. But Tavleen, the questions or the comments coming in, for example, Prasad says, Barkha, Priyanka can speak assertively without a prepared speech and not necessarily come off as being angry. She will do much better than Rahul Gandhi in the Lok Sabha. This is interesting. These comparisons have begun, but, they're right now about style, not substance. The point that Neerja is making is also that when you look at parties in other states, they don't necessarily come off much better on the issue of family-dominated politics or individual-dominated politics. Even a party like the Aam Aadmi Party, which didn't come from a family, it is a Kejriwal-dominated party. Trinamool Congress is a Mamta-dominated party. These are not parties with open elections where the leader is chosen in a kind of, primaries-driven way.
When it comes to regional parties, it's less important in my view. I don't think there should be hereditary democracy anywhere, because I believe it actually harms democracy. Really, in its gut, it's a kick in the gut for democracy, because people who have worked all their lives maybe in a constituency to really help the people are pushed aside for some little princeling or princess to come along, and it doesn't help. The reason why the royal families of India are all in politics is because when they saw what was going on, they thought, well, this is a game we can play very well. So you've got, democratic feudalism, in fact. But, I think that when it comes to the Congress party, Neerja was saying that they've accepted this rule. They cannot do anything else, because in the past 10 years, or when did Sonia Gandhi become Congress president? Since 1997. She has made sure that anyone who can challenge her children is pushed aside. They've all left. She's created a party which is designed to be a family business. Now, for instance, when there was that election when Tharoor was taking on Kharge, he had the blessing, so-called, of the family to have a fair election. It wasn't a fair election. We know that. So, she really, Sonia Gandhi has put her family over the interests of democracy and of India. And this is one of the reasons why I think that Indian democracy is weaker. And what is really sad is there is room for a party to take on the BJP, because there's an ugliness that has spread in the past few years with all this Hindutva rubbish and all that going on. There is an ugliness. So if there is a party that really stands for the values that the Congress party used to stand for, they could take on Modi really well. They might have even won if that party already existed.
But they would, but they would argue that by bringing BJP down to the numbers it fell to in the Lok Sabha of 2024 without a majority of its own, that a large credit of that goes to Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra. It goes to the hard work he put in. That Rahul Gandhi, as Yogendra Yadav likes to say, earned his inheritance.
Oh, come on. I mean, India is not a person, the personal jaidad of anyone. So that really shocks me that he should say that. But, how many seats did Akhilesh Yadav win in UP? That was the main difference. If the BJP had won those...
But Akhilesh is a dynast as well. Akhilesh is a dynast as
I'm
well.
saying to you, I keep repeating over and over again, I don't think it matters that much in a state. And where did it all start? It started with Indira Gandhi and Sanjay under the shadow of the emergency. That was the beginning of it. So if at the top you have a role model that the only other national party in India has followed for, everyone's going to follow it. And it also indicates, as everyone knows, that there's money to be made in politics. They're not interested in the country. They're interested in keeping the family business, going. That's what it is.
Sugata, I want to come to this issue of Robert Vadra, because the BJP made some sort of formulaic criticisms as the affidavits revealed the levels of wealth. But there's an interesting comment, Barkha, with due respect to Sugata and Tavleen, the assumption of the Congress now being a GUF, not a HUF, which is the Gandhis' undivided family as opposed to the Hindu undivided family, is a given. No arguments. We've got to move beyond this. Everybody knows this is what the Congress is. So go ahead. And do you think Vadra sort of now will be dragged back by the BJP into public debate, or is that like now a dead issue? Because the affidavit does have interesting details, and we can bring up the banners that have those numbers. You look at the wealth. That's Priyanka's. If we can go to Robert's wealth, you look at about, I think, 37.9 crores in movable assets and 27.6 crores in immovable. These are Robert Vadra's declared assets in Priyanka's affidavit.
Barkha, I mean, if the BJP now acts on Vadra, wakes up to act on Vadra now, it will look very vindictive. They had 10 years to act on him, and they've had all the details at their disposal, and they should have acted prior to this moment. So if they do it now, I don't think the optics would be good. So that would only create a greater victimhood for the Gandhi family. So I think it would be a extremely bad move on the part of the BJP to sort of act on Vadra. So that is about Vadra. Tavleen ji as well as Neerja ji spoke on a few things which are very interesting. Neerja ji said it is the sad reality of India that people vote for dynasties. See, you should know that Neerja ji knows it very well. In the last 30-40 years, elections are a very rigged affair. It's a very expensive affair. And the other phrase that Tavleen ji used, family businesses, they have become family businesses. So the kind of money that gets spent and who controls that money and the kind of structures that these parties have become, following the model of the Gandhi-Nehru family, is something that jeopardizes democracy far greater than anything else in India at this point of time. So if there is a communal argument being made, say the Hindutva argument being made, you have another philosophical position to argue, say, this is not right, and we are a secular country, and we have to accommodate people and all that. You can build a thing on that. But what can you actually say about dynasties and dynasties and dynasties? It's about a capture of Indian democracy, which I think is going to be, extremely dangerous. All Rahul Gandhi may take a very high moral ground and say he's going to save Indian democracy, but he's actually jeopardizing Indian democracy by perpetuating dynastic rule.
But what is the alternative? I want to talk about that. But meanwhile, Rahul Gandhi's description of himself as the unofficial member of parliament of Wayanad, saying that this is the only constituency that's going to have not one but two MPs. This is given the BJP a little bit of ammunition. They say that this makes it clear that Priyanka will continue to be merely a kind of proxy figure for Rahul Gandhi. Let's play out one of the clips from that filing of nomination when brother and sister and mother were there together. Take a look.
What is this face you're making?
I'll miss Wayanad. That's the face I'm making. Who would I choose as MP of Wayanad other than me? It would be my sister. And not because I like her and because I'm very fond of her and I love her very much, but because she'll actually do a good job. She's got many qualities. She goes into a lot of detail. And she's my sister. So
that's the best.
That's a good quality too. No, I'm joking.
I think what I've understood from you is that you really love the people of Wayanad, and I hope to be able, and they love you, and I hope to be able to continue that bond that they have.
Yeah. If she likes you, then she will do whatever beyond anything that you can ever imagine. She's also going to like Wayanad a lot. You see, a huge part of being a good MP is, do you like the people you're working for, the place where you're working? So she's going to like it.
Do you think she'd be a better MP than you for Wayanad?
That's a tough question. I don't think so.
Okay, I don't know where Neerja went. My question was going to go to her, but let me start with you, Tavleen. This is a Congress released video. It's not been made by a reporter. What did you make of it? I mean, the Congress has upped its digital game for sure, but what did you make of it?
It made me cringe. What is this? We're talking about a country, not a tea estate. Did you see them all jokey? And, if you like the people, then then you will do more for them. No, you are elected by the people to serve them, not your sister or your mother. And by the way, the Robert Vadra has made it clear that he also wants to be in politics. Mm-hmm. And, the son has already been shown, standing by the mother. So, this is going to go on forever. And by the way, when you have a powerful family standing behind a candidate with all the money bags that they have, nobody else has a chance. So, you're keeping out of politics, you're keeping out of parliament people who deserve to be there. What's the difference between this and what the princes did? Let's have the Chamber of the Princes back. The Chamber of the Princes was.
I mean, the difference is that people didn't get to choose their princes, and they do get to accept or reject Priyanka as a member of parliament.
Well, not in a very unequal fight. When your political parties have become, little courts around one leader, that's not a political party anymore. The Congress party hasn't been a political party for years. It's been a family business, and it's very, very sad because we really do need a real party to take on the BJP.
Okay, talking about the BJP, let me play out the BJP's comment on Rahul Gandhi's claim that Wayanad would have not one but two members of parliament. This is Shehzad Poonawala responding.
Priyanka ji will file nomination, but Rahul Gandhi should do apology because he has used and he has treated the people of Wayanad like backup. And we have seen that when Amethi had rejected him, Wayanad accepted him, but he, without telling Wayanad people, contested second seat. So he must apologize. They think this is a parivarik jagir, it's a private limited company. They talk about jitni abadi utna hak. Why don't you give the abadi of Wayanad their hak? The entire hak will only be with the Gandhi family. There'll be so many members of the Gandhi family in parliament. But question today is also this, that who is the real India Alliance candidate? Is it the Congress party candidate Priyanka Vadra, or is it the left party candidate Mr. Mokeri? It is just a confusion and division that is there. There's no mission or vision in India Alliance, and therefore this situation has arose. Rahul Gandhi should apologize to people of Wayanad today when he goes there.
Okay, that's standard sort of political fare. Neerja, can you hear me? I want to come to you if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so we missed a bit of you missed a bit of what we were discussing. Yeah, we can hear you. We were saying what if Tavleen was saying what if Robert Vadra? What if Robert Vadra is the next member of the family to contest from somewhere. He's never hidden his ambitions. I mean, then will we still say, okay, if the voters vote, it's all right, or would we question that? Like, is there a line that you draw?
Ye- Yes, Robert Vadra from time to time has made these statements that he is thinking of contesting, he would like to contest. And it's very mysterious and mystifying, this curious thing why he suddenly jumps in. It's almost as if he's putting pressure on somebody to do something else. I don't know how well that is going to be taken, no matter what the popularity of the Nehru Gandhi family, even if it is at the peak. But Barkha, I want to make this point, which, I asked some people in Srinagar, in Kashmir, about this. For all the much maligning that has been done against the Abdullah family, I said, you people are again bringing in the dynasty, voting for the same family. And this person really silenced me and said, it is up to us to decide whether we go for the family or we don't go for the family.
Yeah. Neerja, you're coming and going, but I think the operative part of the argument we did hear, Sugata, and that's the point, that the difference between the princes that Tavleen refers to, Sugata, and anything else is that there's a vote. And, for example, if the people of Wayanad prefer the left or the BJP, they're entitled to vote for them. And if they don't, then you have to accept that is a democratic choice. Yes, sure. There are phrases like electoral autocracy. Modi's critics have used that for him. There are phrases like democratic feudalism. Tavleen has used one such phrase today. But it's a fair and square election.
No, that's precisely what I was trying to tell you earlier, Barkha, because the political scene or the party scene in India in the last 30, 40 years, if you look at it very closely, have been controlled by families. There's been no space left for anybody else to sort of jump in and correct the reality. So if you are talking of larger principles, you should be able to correct that reality. Otherwise, you end up saying that, oh, people have elected. But what is it? What is the narrative that you're presenting before the people? Who are you putting before the people? Are you making a conscious decision to change? No. It's a matter of, again, about restructuring political parties in India.
But why will a party change when it works for? It's just simple.
No.
The day the BJP, for example, let's talk about the BJP. The day the BJP gets up and it doesn't need the RSS to win elections, the BJP will look to grow beyond the Sangh Parivar. The day the Congress wakes up and says, we actually have better leaders who can win for us than the Gandhis, they will. Politics is ruthless. The argument I'm making is not an argument for dynasty. I just want to clarify. All I'm saying is politics is the winner takes all, right? As long as it works electorally, no party changes. That's the argument I'm making.
I completely agree with you, Barkha. But where has it worked for the Congress or the Nehru Gandhi family since 2014? Look at their vote share. See, the decline of the Congress party started after Rajiv Gandhi. The 89 election or whatever. The whole thing. The vote share, the decline of the vote share is very, very clear. So I don't think it has helped the Congress in a very big way. There have been a coalition. There have been a party which has sort of put together people, and it's been a kind of an exercise where I don't think that they have been able to present a kind of majority that Modi or BJP or somebody else has been able to present. So see, from 2000, the vote shares speak very, very loudly, and I don't think it has really worked for them. And even in 2024, after the elections, there was a premature celebration of everything. I've been looking at data very closely, and I don't really think that the victory that these people have been claiming is really been the kind of victory that's being claimed. I don't think so. The number of seats that they got, 99 is not 272. So in fact, when I spoke to you on the day of the elections, I told you, or a day after that, Rahul Gandhi had made a statement in the Financial Times saying that, oh, we have felled them, we have finished them. So I said, I think you should be a little more cautious and say that we have made a dent and we have a long way to go. And the long way to go is not bringing your sister in. In fact, the family huddle, Barkha, has become a kind of a reality for the Congress ever since Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated, unfortunately. You know, I mean, you always see the three together, and that is the picture of the party now. And there was another video which I think I saw on PTI yesterday, where Priyanka has gotten on the stage, and she's looking around and not able to see her son. She's asking somebody to pull him up, and then he comes up. But that's such a symbolic video. You know, it's a succession plan of the Congress party. It almost looked like that. You know, the mother who supposed to be waving to the crowds is looking for the son and pulling him out. So, I mean, these things will be. See, people are helpless. If that's precisely why I said liberal politics in India is lazy politics. So we don't seem to work towards creating an independent space. And politics has become so much about money and rigged party structures. So until and unless that changes, I think we'll be speaking about the inevitability of dynastic politics in India.
Yeah. The family huddle as a portrait, Neerja, if you can hear me, the family huddle as a portrait of the Congress ever since Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated. That's what Sugata is saying. The point is that can trigger two kinds of emotions. One, oh, in the Congress, the family is the party. Two, a certain amount of, oh, this family has been through so much. They've been through tragedy. They've been through trauma. The brother and sister are so close. That video that Rahul released today, Tavleen said it made her cringe. Congress supporters might say, oh, that's just lovely or that's heartwarming. Depends on how you vote, depends on what you think. What do you think are the pitfalls of what's coming next? The advantages are obvious. What are the pitfalls?
The pitfalls are that, suppose Priyanka does better than Rahul, which is possible in Parliament. Even she is better at thinking on her feet politically than he is. Then what happens? What kind of pressures, what kind of divisions, what kind of camps it creates in the two poles in the party? How will they manage it? So far, as we say, the three in a huddle, they have moved unitedly. The decision that it will be Rahul in 2004 and not Priyanka was taken by them together. And the decision that she will come into politics in 2019 was taken together. And despite all the differences of approach that you hear about between them, their public position has been together, united. That it would be, we thought she will stand from Raebareli. It was a natural thing to do. And he from Wayanad. But you had this rigmarole of him standing from Wayanad, then deciding to stand from Raebareli, then retaining Raebareli, giving up Wayanad, and then she stands from Wayanad. So, but yet, no discordant note has come publicly on any of this so far. So I think let's see how they move. And given we've talked about the principles, democracy is a very faltering system, and yet the best we know. And our democracy has huge shortcomings. And yet it is that we have lasted as a democracy, something that we are very proud of. And I think the family rule and BJP also giving tickets now more and more to, sons and daughters-in-law and wives and so on. It's not a happy thing, but it is happening. And I think how to strengthen the democratic institutions. So there are checks and balances that are so needed in our democracy. Those get, firmed up. I think that is where we are really weak and where we need to put in a lot of effort. And of course, continue to criticize as we are doing this evening.
Yes. Let me give the closing word to Tavleen. Tavleen, the point is that, everybody's made their positions clear on what they think about a family dominating a party. But do you not think that the Congress has perhaps felt emboldened to do this at this moment because they feel that Rahul Gandhi's own political brand now has a legitimacy that it didn't, let's say, 5 years ago? And because it has that legitimacy, there's very unlikely to be any kind of palace coups. In any case, the family seems to be quite close. But, even with comparisons that commentators may make about she speaks better than him, it's quite clear who's the boss. And the boss in the Congress party now has a more legitimate political brand than before. Closing comments.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make 2 points. One, take a look at what happened in Pakistan. When you have a military behind this kind of democratic feudalism. What did they do? They put the one guy who actually won that election in jail, and they brought the families back because it suits, the military to have that kind of bonsai democracy. We mustn't have that kind of democracy in India. We're a bigger country, we're a greater country. And the other point I want to make is, I have a friend, a dynastic politician. Sorry.
You want to get some water? Get some water. Get some water.
God.
Are you okay? Okay, let me bring in Sugata while you just catch your breath back. Sugata, bonsai democracy, the argument that the others would make is it's fair and square elections. And yes, democracy doesn't begin and end with elections, but it's certainly a key part of it. Sugata, last thoughts?
I mean, a bonsai democracy is a very interesting phrase. It's a lovely thing which I would like to adopt and steal. But the whole thing is that as an extension of this family huddle that we were speaking about, Barkha.
Yeah.
See, yesterday the BJP has already exploited that by putting out a clipped video of Kharge being left out of the family huddle. So I mean, it was doing the rounds on the social media.
Yeah, but Mr. Kharge was there. The Congress today said that was false, and they released pictures showing he was there. Yeah.
No, I completely agree that he was there, and he was there in the pictures.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to point out to the fact that it is already being used as a kind of point of attack. The huddle is being seen as something that is that even keeps out the president, the legitimate president of the party. And the second point that was being made, Rahul Gandhi feels that he is a far more legitimate leader now than he was earlier, 5 years ago. We have to be very, very cautious about that thing because, a lot of state elections will sort of put him to test. That's number one. And second, the 99, I've always argued that the 99, and if you look at the data very closely, it is not a gain for the Congress party. The Congress party has a long, hard work to do. So, it's you can't manufacture that kind of legitimacy. You have to wait for some more time, and I think he has to sort of be a little more cautious about the whole.
Okay, Tavleen,
Yeah.
I hope you're feeling well enough to complete your point. Tavleen, go ahead.
I wanted to say two things. One, I know from talking to people inside the Congress party who are willing to speak completely in private that they are worried about the party being a family firm. The other thing I want to tell you is from a friend, a close friend, who comes from a dynastic kind of backdrop of dynastic politics, said to me once, Parliament is it's a diners club. It's a private club. Get used to it. And I thought that was the most honest thing that somebody who actually comes from, who's promoting that kind of thing has to say. It's a diners club. The Parliament of India is it's a members only club. And that's very sad.
Well, that is very sad because when you think of the fact that the vote is that one egalitarian, completely equal thing in this country, and election after election shows that the poor vote in greater numbers often because it's the one time that they feel as empowered as the middle class, the upper middle class, and the wealthy. Could that change? Can it change? The world over, political elites are having to contend with all kinds of shifting currents in the sort of sea of politics. So we don't know. Modi himself came in on that argument, and can the BJP still convert this into an argument? We simply don't know because right now the BJP is the establishment. So for it to play an anti-establishment card is much tougher than before. We leave it there. Neerja, Chowdhury, Tavleen, Singh, Sugata, Srinivasaraju, thank you. And to our audience, thank you. See you tomorrow.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.